networking and why you should learn networking. In this section, we will be talking about networking because it's one of the most important things you should know as a hacker. And why? Well, because if you think of it, almost everything is connected to the internet. Most of your penetration testing will be online, whether approaching a company's websites or trying to social engineer them physically and log into their system. And once you log into their system, how would you sniff their data, or how would you be able to run an ARP poisoning or man in the middle attack if you don't know anything about networking? Therefore, you need to understand how networks work. You need to learn about IPs, VPNs, MAC addresses, and so on. Networking basics. When two or more devices are connected to each other to share data, it calls network. Almost everywhere there is a network, even in your home. You have your home network, your router, and your computer, and your iPad or mobile device. A network contains a number of different computer systems that is connected by a physical or wireless connection, like server or router. This router has a direct access to the internet. It is the only device that has a direct access to the internet, which it calls AP or access point. And if you check your home router, you will see it's connected through a cable to the wall to serve you the internet connection. For example, when we connect to a network through Wi-Fi or Ethernet, when we open the browser and type, for example, Google, then our computer will send a request to the router asking for google.com, and the router will go to the internet and request google.com, and the router will receive google.com and forward the response to our computer, to the device that asked for it. And yeah, by the way, devices on the same network communicate with each other using packets. So if you send a picture, email, or even a chat message, all data is sent as packets, and the devices make sure that these packets go to the right direction, the right device. How do they achieve that? By using a MAC addresses. Each packet has a source MAC address and destination MAC address. It flows from the source MAC to the destination MAC. Now we have 10 types of networks, which they are LAN, WAN, CAN, SAN, PAN, VPN, WLAN, EPN, MAN. But I don't want you to get confused because we will be only using two, which they are the LAN and the WAN. And the LAN stands for Local Area Network, and the WAN Wide Area Network. For example, WANs generally connect devices that they are separated by a border geographical area that cannot be served by a LAN, like ATMs. The LAN, which stands for Local Area Network, like if I'm running a website on my local network, you won't be able to see it or access it unless I do some modifications on my network to allow you to see my website. And this leads us to the NAT. NAT is a process in which your router changes your private IP address into a public one so that it can send you traffic over the internet, keeping track of the changes in process. When the information comes back to your router, it reverses the changes from a real IP address into a private one and forwards the traffic back to your computer. Now you might have seen this IP in a lot of networks, but this is a private IP address, and this private IP address cannot reach the internet. It only reaches the internet when it gets translated through the NAT process using the public IP address, which is unique address. Now the public IP address is your ID on the internet. How to see your IP? Go to Uncle Google and type what's my IP, and I'll show you in a minute what I mean about that. Network devices. Now we have these network devices: the hub, the switch, multi-layer switch, router, bridge, gateway, modem, repeater, and access point. And you don't actually have to know about all of these, but I will include in the resources some websites, some articles, so if you want you can read and you can get some knowledge about networking if you want. Now switches work by processing packets of data and routing them to the intent destinations. In a small business settings, for example, a network switch could be used to connect a computer, printer, and server and pass data between all three. And switches uses layer 2, which is the MAC address layer. Multi-layer switch does the same thing, but you can assign an IP address so it works on layer 2 and layer 3. So router is a piece of network hardware that allows a communication between your local home network, like your personal computer, and other connected devices, and the internet. So routers work on layer 3. Firewalls, a firewall is a digital security system that checks all incoming and outgoing traffic in your network. It keeps out all unauthorized traffic and lets in only those communications that are deemed safe. Firewalls ensure a safe connection when connecting to the internet. And by the way, home routers, they have already built in a firewall. But if you're using an old router, your firewall might be not that good, so it might not prevent hackers, black hat hackers, from hacking you. So that's why another reason you don't need and you don't have at all to share your public IP address. And I'll show you what I mean in a minute. Now I'll show you the configuration in Kali and how you can see your IP address and how you can see your MAC address and what I mean by the public IP address. Here in Linux, we do ifconfig. We will be able to see the network interfaces. This ipconfig command stands for interface configuration, shows us our internal IP address, this one, which now it's 192.168.51.30, with the net mask is on 24 subnet. This ETH0 refers to the Ethernet cable, but as you know, it's a virtual. And as we said before, virtual machines thinks that they are real computers and they are connected directly to the router. So this is virtual. LO, the low, refers to the loopback, to our local host. Nothing pretty much in here. You don't have to worry about this actually. Now, because I connected a USB Wi-Fi adapter, that's why I have LAN 0 in here. But in your case, if you didn't connect a USB Wi-Fi adapter, you won't see it. I just wanted to show you how it looks like when you connect a USB Wi-Fi adapter. Now, because I'm not connected to the internet through my USB Wi-Fi adapter, I'm not getting any IP in here because I'm getting my internet through my cable. So that's why I'm getting the IP from here. So this is the IPv4, IP version 4, and this is the IP version 6. And this is the MAC address, the built-in MAC address, and I will talk about the MAC addresses. Now this LAN 0 might be different for you. Now if you want to see your interface configuration in your Windows, you type in the command prompt IP config. But I'm not using Windows, so that's why it's not gonna work, as you see. So in Windows, just type ipconfig, gonna show you the IPv4, IPv6, and it's going to show you the MAC address of your computer. What I meant about the public IP address and the private IP address, now this was the private IP address. You will never see this kind of IP publicly. This is always a private IP address. And what I meant about the public IP address, that you should not share with anybody, because you might get hacked if you are using an old router, or you might get a DDoS attack. They might disconnect you from the internet. So how do you find your public IP address? You go to Google and you type, what's my IP address? Hit enter. So this shows me now it's the IPv6. I want to show you the IPv4. Now it's gonna show you like this, and if you enter to any website, actually you're gonna see your IP address that you should not share with anybody. Now you might think that I'm an idiot. No, I'm not an idiot. I'm using the Tor network. I'm hiding behind 3 nodes, and I'll talk about the Tor network.